I don't know if you can hear me. If anyone is here, let's set this up a little bit and get this going. Just giving it a few. Let's see. If anyone can see this and you can hear me, let me know. Last time I had a lot of audio issues and it wasn't that easy for me to fix. But we're going to get started and I'm excited. So I'm going to start off again each time mentioning it. Khalifa! Talking about what I'm doing here. Like, why is Melly going on live? I've had this goal of this podcast since 2023, and it's something that I talked a lot about. Back burner, other things took priority. I would talk my way out of it, right? Like, there's so much that has to get done. There's things that generate money. Then the fear comes in, and it's like, but who's going to listen? Who cares? At the end of the day, I want you to understand the only thing that fucking matters is that you care and it's something that you want. And it's a very thin line with the decisions we make, with whether they're better for us or it's the fear creeping in disguise. So today, I want to say good morning and that my week has been amazing, yet me not being grounded has made me feel like I'm constantly running behind. And that's the last thing I want. I hate that feeling. So that's why I wanted this to be the first thing you heard on a Sunday morning. Starting the week with this like low key panic, like I'm already behind on a race I never signed up for. Because the second I feel like I'm chasing everything, I realize I'm present with nothing. Not, I stop being present with anything. So this morning, I want to talk to you about how I reset my week. And not because it's glamorous, not because it's easy, but because it's the only way I know how to show up for the version of me I want to become. And I'm sharing this not as someone who's figured it all out, but as someone who's had to learn painfully what happens when you don't reset, when you don't pause, when you just let life carry you and hope clarity finds a way to you. And I'm going to be real with you. I don't ever really feel like doing this. Lately, I don't ever really feel like working out. It's not like I wake up with this need and desire. I don't like, how do I explain it? I don't wake up like, yeah, let's reflect and get intentional today. I wake up like, where's my cafecito? Why is the group chat already blowing up, right? Can I go back to bed? Can I be left alone? But this reset, the stillness that I need, it works. It keeps me grounded when everything else feels like it wants to pull me out of myself. It keeps me checked in so I'm not living in chaos disguised as productivity. When I skip this, I spiral. Maybe not on day one, maybe not on day two, but 5 days in, I'm losing my shit. I overcommit, I underdeliver, I snap, and I shrink. Nothing I preach is about perfection, but it is about devotion. And you'll know that. If I coach you, you know that. If we have our one on ones, you understand that. I do get tough on that because there needs to be devotion to the person I say I want to become, even when it gets hard, because things will always be hard, even when it gets boring, because more than often it is very boring, even when I rather avoid it and have a good time. So, here is what I want to give us today, the three truths I live by. And these are the same principles. I know some of you, we work together, that I coach you, and they've changed everything for me. And the number one is you don't need a better plan. Again, you don't need a better plan. You need a better relationship with yourself. And let me break this down with the personal truth because there are so many weeks where I would end up feeling disappointed in myself. Maybe I skipped a workout, maybe I ate off track, maybe I fell off, and my reaction is to punish myself with more. I only did 3 workouts last week. This week, I'm going to do 6. I overate that. This week, there's no carbs. It was this push and pull, this really toxic thing that I disguised as productivity. I described as focus. I described as disciplined. I'd say since I was lazy last week, I'm going to add everything the week coming. I thought that would get me closer. And all it did was kind of continue a weird cycle. And it felt like a hustle. It felt like accountability, but it was really what I said earlier, punishment. You can't I'm going to say this. I want us that are here and in the replay, I want us to understand you cannot become a better you by treating who you are worse. I can't grow into a better version of me by treating who I am today bad. That's not leadership. That's shame disguised as something else. And it never works. And that's what kept me in a loop for the majority of my life between body dysmorphia and eating disorders, right? I was never really addressing the real issue. I wasn't tackling my relationship with myself. It was me seeking control over things I did. It seems like it's with me, but it was way further out. And that's why things don't work. That's why I yo yo. That's why I only get this far. Building a real relationship with yourself, not just a to do list this week. Communication, awareness, self trust, asking yourself, what do you really need? Not what you think you should do. And you can only get that by slowing down a bit in those quiet moments. So for me to start my weeks, I need to carve that time out. Ideally, it would be a Sunday, but it's not really about the way my life is set up. It's not really about how busy or not busy my week is. It's that responsibility of me taking that time and really self isolating because I thrive off my alone me time. And and I'm being honest, like I said, today has been practicing that. It's been tackling things. I want you to think when you have alone time, it becomes a hard decision because sometimes it's a battle between who we want to be and what makes us feel good today. While that's in a fight, we won't get worse. It's not that serious. Especially the three people I see here in the chat. It's not that serious. You guys are already fucking thriving. You're already doing great in life. But that push and pull between what who I am today, what I want now versus what I know I need, the outing isn't detrimental to who I'm going to become, but it's going to suck my energy out, suck the energy I need to build the environment I need to thrive, if that makes any sense. So it's important to honor the promises that lives inside you. And I'm not talking about the promise you tell me you want for yourself. I'm talking about those quiet promises you might not even tell anybody else. The promises you say to yourself, but you don't say them out loud because you kind of already know you're not going to go through with them. That's the kind of honesty, that's the kind of self reflection I think we need, not only on a week to week basis, ideally a day, but I mean, let's start with week to week. So as we're building out, I want us to understand that my number one is that time with me, that stillness, that quiet for me to ask, what is it I want? As a trainer, I'm going to bring up my body. Do I really want that body because I need it, because it's something that drives me? Or am I just chasing that to heal a part of me? Am I just chasing that because I'm too busy running? And you know what I say? Like when you're too busy running from old you don't even know what direction you're running towards. And it'll get you far. Because if I'm running and I'm looking back, it'll get me pretty far. But I'm not looking at the road I'm choosing. The more you ignore the quiet truths, the more you'll chase external structure, hoping it fixes internal disconnect. The more we chase external structure, control, punishment, thinking it's going to fix that disconnection we have with ourselves, the most perfect plan won't work if you hate the person living in it. My big eyes. That took me so long. That took me so fucking long to learn. So I had to drop that there. Number two, you can't change your life if you refuse to change your patterns. It just won't happen. You can change outcome. You can get pretty far. You can get to where you want. But if the patterns continue, you're always going to go back. And if you don't go back physically, you'll never grow internally. That looks like hitting those goals, but always feeling behind. So here's where we go all in. We are addicted to being busy, to overthinking, to starting over again and again because starting feels easier than sticking with something. It's easier to pick up a new book than to pick up the one that you've been saying you're going to read. I have it over there for 4 months. We say we want change, but we won't sit with the real reason we're still stuck. It's easier to pick up a new goal. It's easier to quit and start a new job than to sit with the one you have and say, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to grow in here. I'm going to thrive. It's easier. It's just easier. It's easier to find a new love than to deal with the one that you don't like anymore, than to fix a relationship. It'd be easier for me right now to say I'm going to end my relationship and find someone new and be in the thrill of that first starter, right? That's how life is. It's exciting to start up a new plan. It's exciting to do a new challenge. It's exciting to go to a new place. And it's harder to just sit with ourselves and pause. We won't journal. We won't pause. We won't ask what's one behavior I keep repeating that doesn't match the version of me I want to be. Like, what's that one behavior that I keep committing? Let's say it's not something you do. What's that one behavior? What's that one thought that I keep replaying? What do I lead with? What's my instant gratification? For me, it's validation. For me, it's words. I can get really lost searching for validation from others. I can lose my way. I can lose my way wanting to feel needed. Right? That need that I have to feel needed will lead me to always people please. Because feeling needed to me is like my water sometimes. And that might be an identity thing that I attach myself to, but that one thing could be what's holding me back to pursuing and moving. So instead, we default to distraction. And I say this with love, progress is in the microwave. In the microwave. It's in the micro work. Progress is not in staying in your 1,500 calories. Progress is cutting that tiny shit out that you feel has more power over you. It's in choosing the uncomfortable conversation instead of ghosting. It's finishing the thing you said you would, even if you no longer feel motivated. It's in checking your screen time and calling yourself out. No shame, but clarity, keeping it real. And I actually think that's a really important thing. When you call yourself out, let's quit adding emotion to it. Let's quit saying, oh my God, I'm such a fat ass. I just had 25 donuts. Oh my God, I'm so. No, just state it. State what it's done. Put it out there. Be clear. Look at it. Accept it. Ask yourself, is this activity going to get me to where I want? And what do I want more? I never want to be the influence of someone who's so aggressive that feels like I'm trying to convince you to never stop and enjoy. You get to decide that. You have to say what you want and what's happening and which one holds more value to you and be responsible for what comes with it. There's no wrong. I'm not sugarcoating it. I'm not trying to be nice. I'm being real. There's no wrong. That's why it's so important to have that stillness and ask ourselves, your life won't transform just because you want it to. Your life won't transform just because you think it. Your life won't transform just because you're reading. Your life won't transform because of the podcast you're going to listen to mine. It's not going to transform just by that. It might open up. You might get clearer on things, but it's going to transform when your choices reflect that. When your choices reflect what you say you value. If you're talking about money being bad all the time and you're spending it on chucheria, like porqueria, that means like knickknacks, things that don't matter. That's a disconnect. And remember how I used to talk about on our calls that for me, imposter syndrome is more of a reflection of that disconnect than anything else when we don't act how we say we truly want to. And I tell you that because for me, accountability allows me to understand that I'm in control. I'm not going to waste time talking about my week, about the things that I don't really have any say over. Makes me a victim. And if I'm a victim and there's nothing I can change, I'm just going to live that. It's really important for me to call things out that I do, not as a punishment, not as a pow pow moment, but because that empowers me to say, fuck that. I don't want the next week to be the same. That's why when I talked to you, I told you my week has been great, but I feel. And the third one, which you all know how I am, because I don't want to keep these too long. I want you to leave with actionable things. I want you to leave with information. I want you to leave with things that can apply. I don't want to just yap away. I also want to learn how to be concise and deliver. But the third truth for me is you don't choose your energy. If you don't choose your energy, the world chooses it for you. And if we talk about energy, I love it because to me, energy is everything. But it's your responsibility to protect and create it. Something I also learned probably in the last 2 years. I think I would identify with high energy. I'm so great energy. I'm happy. Blah, 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 blah. It's not that way. You have to be responsible to how to protect it, how to create it, how you set it up. This week I failed completely. Every single morning this week, I woke up around 6. And the first thing I would do would be to grab my phone. Just grab my phone. Grab my phone. I know in Spain nothing opens up till 7:30. Grab my phone and I'm scrolling, letting time go by. And it's wild because I know better, but I was avoiding myself. There was like a hesitation to start my day, right? Like I woke up early. There's nothing for me to do, supposedly. What am I going to do? I don't want to get started. I don't want to deal with things. I don't want to even think about that. Like I was in that type of energy. I don't want to think about everything I have to do. Oh my God. Blah, 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 blah. And it just sounded like noise. It sounded like a nagging person, my to do list in my head already. It made me feel. So I think when I do that, when I wake up and I scroll, it fools me into thinking I'm buying back time for me. But in reality, it just steals it. It steals my peace. It disconnects me from my body because already I get up and I'm already like, I get so wired here that when it's time to get up, I'm very unaffected by the world, desensitized, if that makes sense. It replaces clarity with noise. So immediately you get up from bed, and because you were so stimulated and connected to this, now my brain is wired to think, what's the next stimulation? And by the time I get out, I'm already behind. So now I finally get out of bed and now I'm scattered. I'm running. Now it's let me prep the things for the boys. Let me get them to school. Let me rush. So an example is this week, I'm choosing different. I'm not leading with the structure that I need. I'm leading with the energy I want. I want peace. And this isn't about social media because I love connection and I love social media, but I need space and I need my mornings to be mine. That's not making the mornings mine. I need silence. I need to breathe. I need to hear me. I need to ask myself, am I really stressed or am I just so used to saying that? And I say this because when I'm in tune with myself, I lead different. And I know with a couple of you, I've had calls this week and I feel like we're always in the same frequency. A couple of you were mentioning how you felt a little disconnected, a little out of control, and you were looking towards advice on what the next step should be. And on several occasions, I said the same thing to everyone: breathe. Let's not make that decision right now. Right now, you're looking for solution, 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 and solution that's apparent is only the opposite of what we've done. If we keep hitting the same problem, it's our duty to slow down, stop, and say, when I am in tune with myself, I lead different, I speak different, I attract different. When I talk about energy, I want to be what I want. I'm not going to waste my time saying all the things that I want for me if I'm not willing to lead with that example. And that's the biggest shift. Stop leading from what you're trying to escape. Don't work out because you don't want to be fat. That's not going to work. You're going to stay wherever it is you think you are. It's not my job to define you and to give you your identity. You're going to stay wherever you think you are. And what you're doing is running. That's exactly what it's always going to feel like. Start leading to what you want to move towards. Practice that. It's called, I guess when we were younger, it was called daydreaming. That could be a version of it, of that visualization. What is it you want? How do you want to feel? And then practice, even if you fail miserably. How do you want your day to set up? I know how clearly I want mine. I just was ignoring it. That's what magnetism is. And it's a real thing. And you want to, once you learn to embody that, things start to shift around you. Your brain all of a sudden picks up on the positives and not the negatives. And you'll learn how your whole body kind of repels anything that doesn't fit into that. That's what energy work looks like. And in terms of the blueprint, I definitely want to put in more of that energy work because I do believe more than numbers, it's shifted my life. Yeah, deficits are real, building muscles real, calories are real, progressive overload is real. All of that is very real strategy. But I'm not fully convinced that that's what moves a person. I'm convinced your life changes when you're ready to lead. When you tell me, oh, it's hard to be around people. No, 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 lead. Or look at the people you're around. Are we going to get influenced by people who are living a life that don't example what I want? That's not what we do here. So I wanted to take a breath. And the only time I take breaths like this is when I'm in front of you. So I miss you so much. I miss Hot Killer so much. I miss those moments where I am forced to lead. When I am forced to lead, I show up differently for me. And I love how I show up and I love me. And that becomes like this little contagious thing. So I want us to take a deep breath and I want us to think about this week and how we won't abandon ourselves. And I don't want to say forget about who you've been. I just don't want you to hold so tight. I don't want you to tell me so much who you think you are. I kind of want you to release it a little and you can put the pieces back together because you're basing who you are on what, on all your past experiences. Your past experiences right now could be what's keeping you from moving forward. Studies have been done in that. Our future is only a reflection of everything we've already lived. So if we don't have the ability to let go of those thoughts and that hurt and that trauma and that fear and our parents, as much as you love them, I'm not trying to come in here and ruin your relationship with them. If we're unable to let that go, we're not going to be able to see who we can be. So I want you to think, I do not want to abandon myself and what I want. And I talk about these things like they're non negotiable because for me, they are. And if that's something that's on the line, we won't move anyway or anywhere. So it's not that it's an all or nothing necessity. I don't want that mentality to be black or white or extreme. But if you're on this here and if you're attracted to me and in my realm and in my community, it's because you are hungry. There's a fucking fire inside of you that tells you you were born for more. There's something inside of you that tells you you're capable of more. You know for yourself that you're not doing your best, not because you're not better, not because you need to prove it to anyone, but because you yourself know you're not living at your full capacity. So if you are that human, these have to be non-negotiable. Not all or nothing, but my life doesn't work when I don't do this kind of way. That's how I see it. My week didn't work for me because I didn't do the things I need to do to support the person that has to get all that shit done. Versus I'm the person that has to get all that shit done. I have no time to talk to anybody. Oh my God, nobody around me. Two different types of energy. And that one was attracting more chaos. That one was attracting more self doubt. That one was attracting me not wanting to even look at people in my house and being like, oh, so annoyed. Versus what do I have to do for me to be the person that can function and get all this shit done and move forward? That's how I function. That's how I come back to my truth. That's how I stay locked in, not on only who I want to become, but on the dreams I'm not willing to let go of. You don't need to find a new version of you. You don't need to build a whole new person. You're perfect. But you need to stop betraying the one that's already rising. This concept of this isn't valuable because I want to get there. Bitch, she's the only one that will get us there. So right now, if you're struggling with I can't get past this fucking let's just talk about weight. I can't get past this fucking weight. Um the problem is that that's the main focus. Let's micro detail it. I'm putting a lot of expectations when I'm not willing to show up. Or perhaps because the faces I'm seeing here are people who show the fuck up. Let's reframe that for something that can resonate with you. You're showing the fuck up the way you know how to, but you've grown since you started. So if it worked a year ago, the level of intensity in a different way has to grow, has to expand to continue that growth. You're already living in a space that's so above, so amazing. But to get those percentages up, to be at that top, to feel like you're thriving, you know what you have to cut out. And it's going to hurt because everything does at some point feel sacrificial until it doesn't. So I want you this link. We're going to do it too. I mean, we have our group call at 10 o'clock. I want you to set your intention. All right, we're going to set our intention. And I want the intention to be less list based. For me, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but for me, it's what I want to feel. My intention this week is to come in peaceful, to match this beautiful country I'm in. I'm like in this New York energy that I have to be like, calm the fuck down. I want to audit my energy also, be very specific on what I want to have around me, what do I want to attract, and how I will not, because I do it, but I let people pull me out and then make space for that voice. I want to stop pretending the little habits don't matter because they matter more than the big ones. That could be hydrate yourself, Melly. It's not about the hydration. It's not about the 80, 100. It's not about the water. It is, but it's deeper. It's that it's something so micro that I know I have to do and I just keep avoiding it because at the moment it's not do or die. At the moment, it's not what's going to get me what I want. That mentality is going to keep me working so much harder than I need to. Think of it that way. If we continue to ignore the micro things, we're going to have to work 10 times harder. And that becomes the reality that I've been living with my whole life. My whole life. I've been like, I have to do everything so much more than everybody else to get to where I'm at because I've been unwilling to let go of my bad habits. So I do have to work 10 times harder. And I'm only sharing this because it's crucial. The strategy, that's the easy stuff. The you, the us, our brain, our energy, that's the hard one. So we're going to lead different. We're going to reset for real and make it a week you can actually follow through. So even if that means like at the moment there's like chaotic shit on your list, scratch them off. I promise you're going to gain more from completing a week that you're like, yes. And at the end of the week, you'll actually catch yourself seeing what's pulling you towards. Your goals should make you feel excited, not stressed. That doesn't mean they're wrong. You can still have the same goal, but I need you to rework them. I need you to be like, oh, can't wait to get in that space because my life right now is so much better than it used to be. So I can't wait to get there. Versus me sometimes, oh my God, I've worked so hard to be here. I don't know if I have all it takes to get there. Look at that. They equal the same. But check out how stressed out I've been thinking this way versus, oof, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe the girl who has been in the places she's been, abusive relationships, overweight, body dysmorphia, eating disorders, broke as fuck from the projects. I can't believe I'm here. So what's to say I can't get there? No more, oh my God, I've had to bust my ass and no one knows how hard I've had to work to be here. I don't know if I have it in me to get there. Catch. Where does stress take you? If you find it going to the latter one, we need to do some personal energetic work so that we're leading the week with the way we want. It was supposed to be 20 minutes, but I kept you here for 28. I love you. I love doing this. And if I don't do them more often, honestly, it's been just because the lack of, I'll do it this day. Ija. As simple as that. I make it this whole big ordeal. Like, oh my God, I haven't done this. I don't have the right lighting. My kids are making noise. My dog is barking. I look out, gain my grace. I can make up all the excuses and they'll never end. And it's as simple as just put it down and show up how you are, and you're going to get better over time. I hope this helped. I hope it's something that in the future you can listen to and it can put things into perspective. I don't want it to be from a place where I'm always preaching, thinking I know everything. No, I want us to be in this together. But I will always obsessively share everything that works for me because battling this mind has been the hardest thing in my life. And it's fooled me into thinking a lot of negatives that weren't around. Nicole, I miss you. Okay, so have an amazing fucking Sunday. I don't care how busy your day is. Alone time. Check on yourself. Check on the things you really want. Write it down. Put it somewhere. You see it. Tell me. Tell me to hold you accountable to that shit. And let's get this going. Okay? Un beso. Un beso, un beso. Te quiero.